To introduce LSU head coach Lane Kiffin.
Welcome to Thursday morning in Tampa. We begin our day with LSU head football coach Lane Kiffin. Lane enters his first season as head coach at LSU, but he's making his 7th straight appearance at SEC Football Media Days and his 8th appearance overall. Lane joins LSU with a college head coaching career that spans 14 seasons, in which he's had 7 10-win seasons and led teams to 9 bowl appearances. Back here in Tampa, as a reminder that his dad, Monty, spent 13 seasons as the defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, helping Tampa Bay win Super Bowl 37. Also a note, Roman Oben, our new associate commissioner for football, was a part of that Tampa Bay team and played with Monty. Roman was on the offensive side of the football. Son Knox, Lane's son Knox, will be a junior in high school, and he will be the starting quarterback at University High School on LSU's campus in Baton Rouge. Daughter Landry is starting a clothing line in New York City this fall, and daughter Presley is about to begin her sophomore year at Southern Cal. The last paragraph I have, I call the "Someone Give Knox a Hug for Me" paragraph. Last year, I introduced Lane by talking about his prolific social media activity. As of this morning, Lane has been off of social media since May 11th. I'm told he gave it up because of a challenge from his son Knox, thus my suggestion that someone give Knox a hug for me, who told his dad, "You spend too much time on social media." Welcome to the podium, LSU head football coach, Lane Kiffin.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. I met the Commissioner 17 years ago. I was head coach at Tennessee, and I just think about, you can never predict the future of your life and the directions that it goes. 17 years later, 3rd SEC job, he was the associate commissioner at the time, and for Commissioner Slive. And I just have great respect for Greg and what he's done. And then I think about the 17 years, and I think about how far the SEC has come since then, when I first got into the conference, and through his leadership. Leadership, especially in the public eye, is not easy. And he has a really difficult job. And I think Greg does an amazing job of communicating with us as head coaches. And we don't always agree on his decisions, but I also understand now, being around longer, and he has 16 schools to please, and fan bases, and athletic directors, head coaches, and presidents to answer to. So many times his decisions that he has to come up, and I appreciate him for the strength that he shows, is really he's just making a decision based off what he's told to do by the ADs, and specifically by the president. So I appreciate Greg. I appreciate our friendship, and kind of growing through a lot of things together throughout the different stops of coming back to the SEC. Tampa is a really special place. I think it's kind of, things just happen sometimes, and flying down here, just kind of putting thoughts together. That as the head coach of LSU, this being the first time on the podium at SEC Media Day, and it being in Tampa for the first time, as Greg alluded to, this is a really special place, not just for my dad, but for my family. My kids, all 4 grandparents, lived here in Tampa. This was a place that we came to every summer in great memories, and the Glaziers of the Bucks have been phenomenal to our family throughout everything, and over the last 2 summers of losing both parents and both having services down here in Tampa. So really great place, and really a lot of great memories here, and a lot of appreciation for people here over our time in Tampa. So these 7 months at LSU have been awesome. It's been amazing, to come into Baton Rouge in the state of Louisiana, and the acceptance and how great they've been to my family. And the commissioner talked about, to have a son, Knox, playing on campus, and every morning they practice, and then he just can walk over from practice onto campus is really special, and how the community's been to us as family and the state. Over 7 months, just seeing that Louisiana is built off hardworking people that are really passionate and love football. And I think that really fits in well with our staff and the values and principles that we bring into our organization, into our football program. So that's been great. And there's so many things to do in Baton Rouge and then New Orleans right up the road. It's been great for our staff and for their families, and I've been very appreciative of that. One of the things that has really stuck out to me has been the alignment at LSU from the top down, from President Roos to Verge Osber, athletic director, to our board of supervisors. That alignment has been great from the first time I met with them. And then a lot of times people, schools recruit just like coaches do. And then is it that way when you get there? And it's been amazing, that alignment and commitment to building a championship program has been great. One of the things at LSU in taking it was talking about, the opportunities for the football players and the ability to recruit great players around the country. And one of those things is branding. One of the reasons you come to LSU. We talk about it being just different. This week I was meeting with our Nike rep. Think about how different it is for kids in NIL opportunities to come to LSU. We have 12 football players that have NIL deals with Nike. No school in America has more than 8. So think about the difference of that as branding about coming to LSU as a football player. Jordan Seaton, our left tackle, has an NIL deal with Nike. There has never been an offensive lineman ever to have one in college with Nike. So, that's just one of the many things when we talk about LSU being different and why it is a different place to come, and when you come and the association with LSU and the branding that goes with that nationally has really been amazing to see. And that really goes into the blueprint of what we're building, and what I said 7 months ago when I took the job. We're coming to LSU to sign the best players in the country out of high school, and then mix that with the best portal players in the country and put them together. And that's led us into this roster that we have now, which is a really good mixture of that. You have some elite high school players we just signed, some of the best D linemen in America, that'll be true freshmen, and then some elite portal, first-round portal players coming in that combination. That roster is exciting to work with. I can't wait to get to the field, to get back to fall camp to do that. But it also excites me about the future of LSU too, not just this year. We put together a roster that can win now. But as I look at when you build the program, where it really will go to another level is how you build your depth. And that you can't necessarily build the first year, but then you can once you sign the high school players in back-to-back classes and portal players. Remember, guys, I think the portal is thought so much about like every portal player is a senior or a one-year player. That's not the case. A lot of times you sign a portal player, they may have 2-3 years of eligibility left. So then you have them in your program. Now you go into year 2, you've coached them already. Maybe they didn't even, all the portal players aren't top players. You build your depth through that. So they may be backups in year 1, and then year 2, they're your starters. So that's really exciting to me that we were able to build a roster that we can win now, and to see the success of the high school elite players coming last year, committing this year into this class, and then the portal players that we're able to sign in such a short period of time last year, and now to have a whole year leading up to that. The future is really bright and really amazing at LSU of what's to come. When you take over a program, it's really exciting. I'm really fortunate. Commissioner and I were talking back there, and Feinbaum, our historian of SEC, gave me the stat. There's never been a head coach to have 3 SEC jobs, and that were in the conference. And that's really amazing to have those opportunities and be part of that. And it's so exciting for me when you take over a new job. And I've just kind of, if you follow my life, I've built my life about pushing out of comfort. And that may not be for everybody, and that's fine. That's just how I am. And so this job has really pushed me out of comfort to take a new job, to be at LSU, like everyone talks about the pressure of LSU and what comes with that. And there's more things to be done as the head coach of LSU than anywhere I've been that are asked of me. And I've really enjoyed that, and it's been exciting to do that and to rebuild within a program, a roster, and to come in and a team come off of a 7-6 season. And then the expectations that everybody in the media has that we're supposed to be this great team right away. That's an awesome challenge. You want to talk about getting uncomfortable, that does it. You know, expectations make you uncomfortable. They make you not be able to just go through motions in any aspect of your program. So that's been awesome. And I really just can't wait to get on the field with them. You know, this has been 7 months. There's been a lot of stuff, and you have the high school, then you have the portal, and you have spring ball, and you have all the things. And to just go coach with them on the field and to put these players together and start moving the pieces around and get them developed. That's always been something I think we've done really well, and also has always been really exciting to me. When you take the pieces of a new team's new years, and if you look at our teams over the course of time, especially offensively, they look different every year because they're based off of the pieces. We don't just run the same plays and run the same systems. And that's exciting to me, to come in and get these pieces from everywhere and to put them together, but you got to get on the grass to do it. And the excitement of the schedule and to coach in Tiger Stadium and have the big opener against Clemson, just really every day pushes us to be the best and really is exciting, as I say, to get back there. So the 3 players today that we brought, that wasn't an easy choice. We had a lot of really, really good players. And, you know, we brought 3 players. We left Sam, our quarterback. This is an interesting time where this fell. We actually this morning had player-led practices, and so Sam was able to stay for that. And Sam's doing an amazing job. You know, these 3 players that we brought today, I think, are an interesting combination because you get a little bit of everything, to me, of what college football is now. You know, TJ coming through the portal, coming from Ole Miss to LSU, having been here a year before with another school. You'd never thought that happened years ago. And so to have a portal player that left a team to come to us, and then you have Witt that had a chance to go to the NFL draft. And a lot of people would have in his situation with a coaching change and having played really well. And Witt decided to stay. He wanted to see LSU return to dominance, to return to the style of play that he grew up watching, which was the reason why he came here. And he wanted to come back to make sure he was part of that. And then you have Trey Dez, of someone that in high school stayed in Louisiana, went to LSU, and now playing great, and also had a chance to go into the portal like all kids and decided to stay with the new staff. So I think you'll really enjoy these 3. And again, that was a tough decision because there's a lot of household name players we could have brought today. You know, the question the commissioner mentioned there about social media and Knox. And so I think as I look back over my life, one of the things that has been great is subtracting things as you get older. And I think that's a big part of growth. If you really want to keep growing, a lot of people add things as they go versus subtracting things that are issues, whether that's diet, whether that's, in my situation, alcohol, whether that's things that are subtracted along the way, toxic relationships, things that as you grow, you decide, okay, I'm going to continue to grow. And Knox one day is like, Dad, there's no way you could get off social media. And if you know me, like, that's the best thing to do. My kids have learned that too. If they really want something, just say, I can't do it, and I'm going to do it. And so I'm like, well, I bet I can. And it really wasn't a plan. And so I got off of all of it. And then it was still on there. And then I said, okay, I'm going to go to another level. And I just deleted the apps. And it wasn't a long-term plan. And it was really interesting to see as I went through it because Knox pushing me to do that, challenging me, allowed me to help other players, friends, coaches to say, man, you should try this sometime. Because once you remove something from your life, you start to realize how many other people are addicted to it or need it. And it is interesting now. I did the 5 a.m. workout at Camp Tampa, and I watched as soon as the workout's over this morning, what does everybody do? They rush to get their phones because they got to get on there. And to be free of that has been interesting because you don't compare. Kevin Elko, who actually here in Tampa did my dad's funeral, and Kevin used to say to us years ago at Alabama, he'd say, comparisons are the thief of joy. And what I realized and what I talk to people about now is like, if you're not on anything, you don't see anything all day, you don't compare. Because now social media does what? You sit there all day long and you start to compare your job, you start to compare the city you live in, you start to compare your vacation, your kids, your clothes, your car, your significant other. And when you don't see that all day, you're free of that comparison. So it's been an interesting study. I've always, made our kids, our players, not have their phones in certain times, like team meetings and stuff, just to get them off of them so they can learn to communicate. But it's just been interesting and a way of being more present. So I appreciate Knox challenging me on that, and it's been great. The other question I get is the 9-game schedule. And like I said, I don't always agree with the commissioner, but he has hard decisions to make, and we understand that. My concern was about the 9 games is that you're going to lose non-conference games. Teams will eventually get out of the bigger non-conference games because the selection process is not fixed. Until that is fixed, to really, truly reward strength of schedule, I was against it because I think what you're going to have is more conference losses. And you don't prove anything. If I'd keep playing, we're all in the same conference, we keep playing each other, we don't really prove that we're better than anyone else, and we're taking away out-of-conference games. So I just think that it's going to cause issues that we've already seen until we can get to a world where people can actually look at teams and say, that team that is 9-3 with their schedule is a better team than that 11-1 in a different conference, which now I think we aren't even close to doing that. I think it causes a problem because we don't have enough non-conference in our sport. I look at other sports like baseball. Oklahoma just wins a national championship in baseball. Well, I think they're 14-16 in SEC play. Think about that. In football, we'd be nowhere near the playoffs. An 11th in regular season, and they win the national championship. But they also have non-conference games to show how good they are. And so I just think that the system wasn't ready for that change yet until they changed the selection part. Last part, I just want to say thank you to the media. Everybody talks, these coaches get up here and I see the things, on TV, watch their day, they talk about their summer and everything they did and all those things, and you guys giving up your time here in your summer to be here to cover us. And specifically to the SEC media, it's part of what makes the SEC so special, because the intensity of the media and the coverage and the passion that everyone talks about the fans have, well, the media has it too. So I appreciate you guys, and with that, open to questions.
All right, if you have a question, we have Lauren, Peyton, and Lane who have microphones. Come up here, and we'll start right here in front of me, Coach, second row, Kirk, right in the middle.
Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. Lane asked you a few years ago what your NIL budget was at Ole Miss, and you didn't say, but you said, God, I'd like to tell you. I was going to give you a second chance today, ask you what your NIL budget at LSU is, and do you think we're ever going to see the day where every team's payroll and every player's salary is published?
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to see that day. I think that, again, this is a really hard thing to get to, but if to do it right, just like the scheduling would need to be fixed, and would be to have a real salary cap. And I know what looked like it was going to be implemented, coming with the revenue sharing, that's not, I think I've always been the coach up here to just tell you how it is, that's not being followed because it's not a real cap. It's not a hard cap. So that'd be like in the NFL, like, hey, we have this cap, but it's not a hard cap, and you can go above it. So it's just really a poor system. And like you said, things aren't public. The contracts aren't public. So different than the NFL, where the NFL, everybody has the contracts of all the players and the other teams and everything. And then you have long-term contracts. I think one of the things too is I talk about this system of, I believe you build a system based off of where you are. We talked about you build your offensive system off your players. You build your system of how many portal players, high school players. In my opinion, it's not, hey, here's the cookie cutter formula wherever you are. You go to LSU, you do it different than you did at Ole Miss. And so as you build it, though, you can't say, in my opinion, some people will say, okay, the traditional power should just build through high school. Well, you study the NFL and they say, okay, well, yes, the best teams over time, you will sustain the longest by building through the draft and supplement through free agency, because that's where the long-term contracts are at the lower prices than the free agency. But our system doesn't have that. Now, if you could fix it where the high school kids, my opinion, they should be lower. Just like I was in the NFL when we drafted Jamarcus Russell before they moved down the rookie salary cap. And then they made the slots for the draft because the veterans, the rookies were getting paid more than the 10-year vets. Well, they got that fixed. And that in our system's a little bit screwed up in my opinion. The kids that haven't played at all coming out of high school should be making less, and that there should be a freshman, like a rookie cap of how they are, and then the max slots per position that they make. And then they're signed to multi-year contracts. So now you really do get into, okay, you build through high school because that guy can stay longer. Think if you built through high school now, if that's all you did. And I think a couple schools have done that, and it's not working out well because you don't have the kid. They can leave after year one when they don't play as much as they like, or they want more money, or they do play and then they want more money. So that's why we built so much through the portal, and we'll continue to build a lot through the portal because of the way the system is. Even though we can sign great elite top 100 high school players like we just did, like what's committing to us, but we're still going to build a lot through the portal until they balance out the system and they balance out how contracts work.
Coach, we'll go over here to our left-hand side, third row.
Hey, Coach, Michael Bratton from That SEC Podcast. When you were at Ole Miss, you led them to the third most wins in the conference since 22. You had 10 players drafted or signed as free agents in the 25 draft, 8 players drafted or signed as free agents in the 26 class. You had a top 4 portal class each of the last 3 portal cycles you were there. Jackson Dart, first-round pick. Yet in a Vanity Fair article, you said Oxford diversity hurt you in talent acquisition. So is it your belief that if there was a little bit more diversity, all those numbers I cited could have been even better?
I had a feeling that was going somewhere. You were doing like really positive stuff the whole way through. I'm like, man, this guy's good. It sounds like you should go work for Jimmy Sexton, man. You're like going a good direction there. I made a challenging decision and change. And I think as I look back to that, I thought I could find a way for everybody to understand. And now as I look back later on, that was never going to happen. And I made a decision that I changed jobs. And as I get older and I go through things and losing both parents, I was actually talking to Ross Dellinger, and I kind of said something that might sound kind of funny to you, but I watched the Hulk Hogan special. And I realized something. I was like, we're all going to die. And so some of the things that we put importance on, we worry about, and what this person says and that, like, really aren't going to matter. And when I lost my dad, I started thinking that. And I really started thinking, when I grew up, there were 2 people that I thought just wouldn't die. My dad and Hulk Hogan. And then I watched that special and realized, like, Hulk Hogan died too. Like, there's no way Hulk Hogan was ever going to not wrestle and die. And he did. And so it just made me reflect really on, like, I can't be so concerned about little things and what people say and this. And you got to make decisions. You got to go with them. And you do things and you make really good decisions and you make poor decisions. And that was a poor usage of a term that I believe, just like many coaches that have been there before, was factual, but over the course of a long interview was bad timing and bad usage of the word. So it is what it is. I apologize when I said it, and moving on.
Got time for two more. We'll start here in the center aisle.
Hey, Coach. Daryl Dapprich, Locked on Auburn. After a 2-year hiatus, Auburn and LSU play again this year. Talk about what that game means to you. There seems to be a nice little rivalry with Auburn and some of the things in the past. And how is Malik Blockton progressing for you?
Yeah, Malik's doing great, really working hard. Made a lot of plays in spring ball. I think Auburn's a great program. I think they got new energy with the coaching staff and a really good offensive system coming in and keeping DJ Durkin on defense. I think that they're going to be a really improved program, and that's a really hard place to play always, and really gives people a lot of problems. Kind of a magical stadium that magical things happen in. So that's one of many extremely competitive games we have, including really for the first time that you have 5 road conference games.
Which will go one final question over here on our right-hand side, over to the right.
Thanks. Hey, Coach, this way, other way.
Yep.
I'm Eddie Pels from AP. I think at some point after your social media cleanse, Congress introduced a bill that has a thing in it called the Lane Kiffin rule. It's about coach movement. I think with that and with a lot of the things that have been said about your move, I'm just wondering, do you think you get a bad rap about, they look at you sometimes and say that's the problem with everything? Do you think you get a bad rap?
Well, the good thing is I don't know if I do, because I don't read anything. So it really is a different way of not seeing, like you just said that, and I didn't know that until you said it. And I guess in that, I hope that some way for future coaches, they're not put in that situation. The NFL, you're never put in that situation because of the calendar and because of the rules of movement within season. So I do hope for future people that's fixed so that you're not in that same predicament for players, for coaches, which really was a player issue too. And then we fixed that with moving the portal date back. That was more of an issue earlier in the postseason too, as you saw players having to leave teams to get into the portal during the season. So hopefully some way they fix it for coaches too.
All right, Coach Kiffin, thank you for your time this morning.
All right, guys, thank you.
Better opportunity, but that's
So there you go, the first of 4 coaches at the podium today here.
Hey, how you doing?
On SEC Media Days. Got a special guest hanging out over here with us. How you doing, Mr. Daly? Good to see you. Didn't expect to see John Daly roaming around.
Yeah, just hanging out with the press.
It is Arkansas. It is Arkansas Day after all. But how about?
That's true.
How about? Did you know him before?
I met him before.
Yeah.
I wish I could hit it like that.
All right. I think if people were tuning in to see, what Lane was going to go off the rails and be explosive, we didn't get that. I think most of us didn't expect that. But I would ask you, Coach, in general, what is your takeaway from what he had to say?
Well, I think Lane's got a really good perspective on what it takes to be successful at LSU. And I think probably one thing that he mentioned that most people wouldn't even put into consideration is alignment. To have alignment at LSU is very, very important because that's a very political place.
Yes.
I went through that when I went there. Mark Emmert was the chancellor. He kept all that off my plate. When he left, it changed. And it makes a big difference when you have everyone pulling in the same direction and allowing you to build a program like you want to. There's tremendous resources there in terms of players and being able to attract people, and I think Lane's taken advantage of that. He is a really, really good coach, so he's going to develop the players on his team and do a good job. I like where his focus is, in terms of how he presented himself, today, at the media day. I think he's in the right place mentally.
Yeah, I think he showed a tremendous amount of emotional intelligence. And what I mean by that is understanding that he can be a lightning rod personality. People have very strong opinions about Lane Kiffin in different directions. The first probably 10 minutes of his speech, he humanized himself. He talked about his father. He talked about his family. He gave homage to the commissioner. He did all the things to connect with the people in the room and those that are watching to show the human side of him. He revealed some of the struggles he's had with deciding to do things that he wants to do instead of waiting to do those things, and what it feels like to get that scrutiny. And so I took away from it him being personable. Before he even got to any of the football things, he talked about, we're all going to die.
Yeah.
That puts things into perspective outside of the game. And so I agree with you, Coach. I think he did a fantastic job of being what he needed to be for this moment, considering all the narratives that are surrounding him coming to LSU.
Yeah, I think, Coach, you can talk to this better than anybody. I see a growth and a maturity that maybe, and I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth, but maybe wasn't there 10 years ago. You know what I mean? And through experiences, obviously, like he said, he's learned. I thought everything was very well thought out. I thought he was very pragmatic in what he was saying, even from the standpoint of him challenging the college football playoff committee a little bit. You know what I mean? But you started to see a little bit more of maybe how Lane has grown as a human. And you grow as a human, you grow as a coach. And that's simply through experiences. But I think he's perfectly suited for this job. And I'll tell you why. Because what he's done, Coach, is he's proven that he can live in this college football world of transient roster change and manage it. It used to be let's sign a guy and let's develop him. Now you better be good at your evaluation process. Because they're coming in now ready to play. This isn't a rebuild. And you can blame Kurt Cignetti for it, because right now that's the guy that showed, hey, I can go in and change this thing right now. Well, now that is the expectation. Certainly at LSU it is. But I think he's the right guy for the job because he's proven at Ole Miss he can do that and be really good with 50 guys on a roster change. I would be hard-pressed to think how crazy that is. But he's done it year in and year out. So I think he's the right guy.
I do agree with one thing that you've said is maturity is your ability to focus on the right stuff. And I think Lane is focused on the right stuff. And I do think that he has been very adaptable in being able to change to the current culture in college athletics in terms of roster changes, developing players. It's all changed. So, and he has been very, very good at that. And, a lot of the guys that work for me, they all complained like you can't imagine when they were there. Why are we doing this? Why are we meeting the day after the national championship game to go over recruiting? But lo and behold, every one of them will say, that's exactly how I do it now.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting that you knew what you were doing? You didn't just slip and fall into 7 national titles. Is that the way that works?
I had some good mentors, I'll promise you.
It's like growing up fighting against what your parents tell you, then all of a sudden when you get kids, I'm doing the same thing that they told
That's right.
And then you need to go apologize to your parents for giving them the hell that you gave.
You were right. You were right.
All right. We'll dive into the project that Lane is now trying to undertake, develop into what he explained. This is a national championship expectation, whether it's right now or it's not right now. Eventually, soon, it will be the expectation at LSU. We will dive into that when we get you back here, of course, into Tampa, Florida, where we are 1/4, at least through coaches at the podium, of our way through the final day here at this 2026 SEC Kickoff. SEC Now 2026 SEC Kickoff, presented by Regions Bank, official bank of the SEC.